No, Bruceff, I want you to say, roll the intro.
The fucking hot pocket emote.
Yeah, you just say it, and then the power of magic, an intro will appear
Okay.
when the video gets posted. So whenever you
Wait, this is good. We're having our guests do the intros now.
But you gotta throw your hands up like you're casting holy light.
Okay, hold on. I gotta do this. I gotta put my thing on voice activity. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
What?
Roll the intro.
Bruce. Perfect. Welcome everybody to episode 3 of the Parse Monkeys podcast. Joined today with your typical hosts, Lightwater and Kid Benji, along with our beloved son, Rusev, right over here.
We had a kid.
Sorry,
we didn't tell you guys.
Yeah, he is a fellow disciple of the Parse Lords, as well as an amazing holy priest, and hopefully we'll be putting up big dick numbers and showing how to actually heal.
Yeah.
Anyways, apart from that, we're gonna get right into our topics for this week, which is our weekly summary.
The chat
of what you believe is what healers have you tried this week? How have they felt? We had a couple changes to Holy Priest, so did that change how you play? Have you seen a difference in your HBS? Stuff like that. So I guess we'll start with Rusev and then we'll go on to Brian.
What's the first topic? I wasn't listening.
Weekly summary.
Okay.
Okay. So
let's read chat.
This week I played Mistweaver, Holy Pally, and I played Holy Priest twice. And I saw that Holy Priest is Binding Heal. The nerf was actually insane.
Yep.
Like we did raid testing. We'll get to that later, but the longer the fight, Binding Heal is still really good. Like you'll always be doing really good throughput, like because you can manage your mana still. But it's the 0.4% mana nerf was insanely strong because you just spam that. Like you have 150 casts of Binding Heal, and then you're just like, oh, that's all my mana. So I was messing around. Me and like a couple other holy priests messed around with the Circle of Healing build. It actually does less throughput, but the effective healing is about the same because it's a smart heal.
Yeah.
So you get very little overhealing on it, especially if you time it correctly. But there's almost always a perfect time to cast Circle of Healing because it's instant cast and like
smart healing. Yep.
You can snipe or we're parse monkeys, so we snipe heals. But the only thing that sucks about that build is that we get way less holy words, which is it feels a lot worse. Like my salve timing is up to like 5 minutes. Like it feels terrible, but
ew.
I think it really comes down to the salves, right?
Yeah.
It's like
if you can get 3 salves off with Binding Heal, then the Binding Heal is the play.
Yep.
If you can get 2 salves only with Binding Heal, then I think Circle of Healing might be.
If the number doesn't change, then it doesn't matter, right? And you could run either one. But I would say if the number does change because of Binding Heal, you kind of have to run Binding Heal because obviously salve is just ridiculous, right?
Yep,
so
exactly.
And that's cool. I'm glad there's not just this one-dimensional play. And so there will be some other ways to play the game. But yeah.
And one thing that's nice is the Azurite trait. I didn't get to play around with it, but it's putting up some pretty good like showing. Just the Sanctified thing. It's really good with the Circle of Healing build because we aren't casting Prayer of Healing very much on the longer fights when you use the Circle of Healing build.
Mm-hmm.
But you're casting Prayer, and if you stack 3 of the Prayer of Mending traits or whatever, then you'll actually be able to get more Sanctifies. That's
the
it integrates some serendipity into. Oh, I forgot what it's called now, but. It integrates serendipity into the Circle of Healing build, which is
that
nice.
Azurite trait's the one that reduces the it makes it to where your Prayer of Mending has a 2-second Holy Word. It essentially gives it 2 seconds for Holy Word off your AoE heal, your Holy Word. So fuck, all these names are the same. It's like confusing, but yeah. I think if you stack all 3, it becomes pretty good because now it'll be 6 seconds for every palm that you cast.
Which is huge.
Yeah, that is huge. That will push it over the edge. It really depends on what the other Azurite traits do. All these Azurite traits are now really, really good, and it's so hard. I still have not found any accurate like site for data, except for like, what people say like they test on their own. But it would appear that Blizzard has given the Azurite traits a base along with a scaling number that's like they told us what it was, but even that's wrong. but there's like a scaling number on top of a base. So like it's gonna be so difficult to get accurate data until I'm actually playing in it, because I didn't have beta access Kappa.
I did. I didn't get to 120 because I was in Europe, but that's.
Did you repair your game files, Brian? Maybe that's why.
Oh god, dude, that joke's too long to explain.
How did Mistweaver and you said Holy Paladin, right?
Oh yeah, Mistweaver. I think it's going to be. Brian actually said this in his one of his videos on YouTube, but I think Mistweaver is going to be required. Not required, but really strong off healer to 2 throughput healers, because it's insane the single target healing that it can do with very little mana put into it. You can use Soothing Mist and put 1 enveloping, and the person is not going to die. So like basically you have 2 to 3 throughput healers, and then you will keep the raid always like blanket hotted or whatever, because Disc Priest kind of puts hots with Atonement, and then you have Holy Priest with Echo, and you have Resto Druid with their hots, and then you're gonna have a Holy Paladin and Mistweaver. I think it's gonna save a lot of attempts on prog, because they'll be able to fix the mistakes. Like if someone gets hit by a mechanic, as long as they don't get one shot, a Mistweaver can just keep them up, and then that'll save a lot of pools, in my opinion. So
even in mechanics that do like 80% of someone's health, and then they leave like a nasty 20-second dot.
Yeah,
that Mistweaver will be the one that saves that person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nobody else can react without losing too much efficiency. Like nobody has decent, high efficient single target spam in the game. Like I can't think of a single healer. Like everybody sacrifices essentially raw throughput to save an idiot, except for the Mistweaver.
Yep, it's included in their kit. Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think maybe at the end of prog, like at the end of a prog boss, we might switch out of Mistweaver. I think early prog on a boss, Mistweaver would be really good for like if people are just
100% agree.
learning the mechanics.
Yep.
And then Holy Paladin, I ran Lightwater's build with the Light of Dawn spec. It's really strong. I was competing with somebody who was 10 item levels higher on Argus, and I was beating him actually, and he's played Holy Paladin for a long time. And I was actually beating him on most pulls. Pool we killed it, I died in phase 2 really early because I got the big bomb, but whatever. But it's really strong, really hard to play actually. There's a lot of globals. A lot of globals, and not enough globals to use. Like there's like 6 buttons to press every global, and you have to like mental math. Like you know that one meme where it's like which one do I press? Yeah. It's like, yeah, and since I'm not really practiced at Holy Paladin, especially that spec, it was insane like for me to like learn how to do it. But once I picked it up, it was really strong. But I think not having the helmet's gonna be kind of big nerf, because that thing, I went from about 35% uptime to like 60% on average.
Yeah, it's
that helmet is insane. So I think without it, that spec might be a little bit not as good. But for a throughput fight, I think that spec still.
I think everybody will be powered down though, so it'll be interesting to see where everybody's at after it. But I think the big thing with Paladin, with that build, we're seeing it with like, we're seeing a completely different version of it, right? So we're seeing like super high uptime on wings, but really low range on Light of Dawn. But come BFA, we're going to see really high range on Light of Dawn, but like lower uptime on wings. So it's going to be a completely different feel, I think. It's going to turn in from like this OP, ridiculous melee healer to this like light, consistent AoE healer for the whole raid. Like 5 people are gonna get healed from like a decent amount from Light of Dawn every like 4 seconds on average. I would say.
It's gonna be your efficient healer, the one that'll always be there when you like need a long fight with like consistent healing. Which
is not what anybody would expect or is going to think.
Exactly.
Yeah. No. You know every guild, even mythic professional guilds, like I'm talking sub 50, are still going to use a paladin the old way and think that's how they're supposed to be played.
Flash, like,
spam flash of heal and holy light.
That's the thing. So.
It's like, well, we need one holy paladin to heal the tank. It's like idiots. They don't tank heal anymore.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Resto Druid tank healing on beta, insane. Like they're doing double the Holy Paladin. With 2 beacons up.
Holy shit.
Resto Druids are insane tank healers right now. So
mastery.
And they're also doing really good like raid healing still. Like they're competing with the Holy Priest. So it's gonna be. I think Resto Druid is like a class to look out for. Definitely.
I know we never talked about PvP, but I did want to mention this. Resto Druid is the strongest healer in PvP and like battlegrounds and stuff, because you can take a build where your regrowth puts up any missing hots that you have, and then you can take another thing where it also, like whenever you rejuve a target, it gives like these 2 stacks to increase the time that it rejuves and heals them.
Yeah.
And then if you take abundance, and then you take all the shit, all you have to do is push one button, and you go around regrowthing like 40 people, and your regrowth is basically free, always crits, and puts up 2 hots every single time.
Busted.
It's so stupid. It's so much fun.
Before I have Brian break down his weekly summary, I'm gonna give you my quick thoughts on the 3 that I played. So I basically played what you played. I played Mistweaver, Holy Paladin, and Priest this week. And so I'll start off with Priest. I ran my Priest against Brian's Paladin, and we both have similar item levels. And it was interesting to see how close we were in HPS, but how easily I blew him out of the water if I got one salve or one him off correctly.
Yeah.
Like it's like a tie race until I hit that, and then I was doubling his HPS. But the overall like effective healing, like we were still pretty close, but in like the actual healing done, like I was just far above and beyond. And it was like it's almost like I could almost see like in some raids, Holy Priest and a Paladin kind of getting like kind of greedy at each other, and like wanting to put up the parse, so them popping their raid cooldowns before the actual damage goes out.
Yeah.
And I can see a lot of people probably getting like angry at that, and then thinking that, oh, Holy Priest is bad and Paladin is better, or seeing it the other way around, because what they're not realizing is just whoever can hit the button first, you know?
It's like old revival when you would like cast a him, just revival instant.
It's just so annoying, dude.
Yeah.
And then on the opposite side of that, with Holy Paladin, the only thing I really noticed for when I was playing it is that it seems to be that when you cast an aura, if you want the quickest and to get the most output from your aura mastery is when you do Mercy, you want to pop Divine Shield and then spam Martyr, because aura mastery only lasts for a couple seconds. When you cast, if you don't have a Holy Shock available for an instant cast, and you have to either rely on Holy Light or Flash of Light, the time that it takes for that ability to channel and actually cast, you're losing healing in those couple seconds. Whereas with Martyr, if you're just like spamming it, you can get healing out quicker.
You're talking about just the normal aura, not aura mastery, right?
Or with the Aura Mercy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Aura of Mercy.
I had a question though, like would you? Because I mean, I'm still learning Pally. Would you Crusader Strike to get your Holy Shock back off?
This is assuming that you're like. So if you're on top of your shit, right? There's definitely a moment where there's no Light of Dawn, there's no Holy Shock, there's no Infusion of Light, there's no Crusader Strike, there's nothing to push, right?
So you just light of Martyr.
So I mean, you have aura, you have this aura that's always healing you. So yeah, why not Light of Martyr? And if you find that you're Light of Martyring a lot, which probably means you don't have a lot of haste, then you could just switch to Beacon on yourself. I mean, essentially, you're not a tank healer. You're a spot healer.
That combo I mentioned, like I noticed that I had to do that because it was kind of biased because I was doing this on like LFR and normal raids that me and Brian were running. So I was competing against these other healers to try to get everything out faster than they were. And every time I had the opportunity to aura mastery, when everybody else's raid cooldowns were done, I didn't have any opportunity to strike or cast any other spells. Like I had to hit the button at that moment, or else there would be no other time in the fight that I could use aura mastery and actually get to heal people.
Yeah, I would say you're essentially fulfilling the role of what the Mistweaver was supposed to do, because like you would do that to save someone's life, right? Because you don't have the time to cast. Like you don't really. I mean, there are a certain amount of flash heals that you can cast, but obviously, like if you've seen the Google Docs, like casting that one flash heal that's not empowered by Infusion Light is so horrible that you'd almost just rather do like the slightly less efficient thing, which is the Martyr. Yeah, the Martyr is only bad because it logs factors in the 50% health that you lose from it. But as a heal, and as like progression's sake, it's actually not a bad heal to cast, assuming you're full health, right? So, and I'm not sure, I haven't been able to confirm this, but I wonder if Leech double dips on Martyr, because technically it's healing, and then it does damage to you, right?
I thought it did. Remember we tested it?
Yeah, it seemed like it was actually double dipping. I don't know if that's a bug, because if you take half the amount that you healed, that's technically you're doing damage, right? You leech off damage dealt. So that would be kind of an interesting thing to figure out. And also, if you think about it, technically, all this damage that you're doing could also work as, if you have a significant amount of leech, you could heal yourself that way too, right? So I'm thinking the Paladin is probably actually going to like leech the most. And then you could throw like a beacon on yourself or something, and then just like, I don't know, like get all this leech healing, and then you could easily throw out like a couple martyrs every 10 seconds.
Yeah,
if you really
there was
want
a
to.
point where you had so much leech that you every time you martyred, you just heal back the life that you
I mean, if it double dips, I don't know. You would need like 40% leech. No, not even like it would be like 20% leech because all you need to do is get 20% of the heal from the heal and then 20% of the damage. That would be 30%. I don't know what it would be off the top. It would be 31 or 32% leech, and you would take no damage from martyr at all, assuming that you heal off the damage as well. Yeah. That'd be crazy. But, I mean, you're never gonna get 32% leech.
Yeah, so Paladin has been pretty fun. Obviously, it's my main that I'm gonna be playing, but finally, I played Mistweaver, and I switched to the Refreshing Jade Wind build with the Chi Burst, and that shit was really fun, especially when you're playing with obviously anything where you're stacking, and especially in LFR or like shit where you're like having to play with like people that are bad.
It's a good alternate play style.
Anyways. Yeah, and it was pretty fun. I like just being able to hit those Chi waves and those Jade Winds and like. If you can get it, if you can get it off, like, just good enough, like you're gonna match the HPS of the other build as well. But obviously, both are well suited for very specific things, and it just kind of adds to the utility of Mistweaver overall.
Bruce, have you noticed you played with the new Disc Priest recently?
Disc, we're actually getting a Disc Priest in my guild.
Because
new to it, but I've played with a couple.
Did you play with it post nerf?
I played with them post nerf on beta.
Okay.
Actually looked surprisingly a lot worse than last week.
Yeah.
I don't know if they weren't playing well, if they lost external mana. I don't know exactly what the situation was, but definitely looked a lot worse. Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah. I mean, they took about an 8% hit overall, I'd say. So
yeah,
we lost. Okay, us Holy Priest, we lost about a 15% overall, but they lost about an 8%. So it's significant. I actually think, in my opinion, Rested Druid, Holy Priest, and Disc Priest are probably all equal. But maybe Disc Priest is actually a little bit lower. But I would say Disc Priest, if you're a god tier player, you can still be brought for sure 100% of the time because you counter certain mechanics very well, right?
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
You can easily blanket the way with 15 atonements and do a Schism Penance rotation and with like a couple smites, and everyone will get one shot to full health. It's ridiculous.
I think Disc will be really competitive as a 5th healer. They can always be brought as a 2nd healer just because their throughput will always be solid. But I think they might actually be better than a Resta Shaman as like a 5th healer if you needed that.
I don't want to bring a Resta Shaman ever.
Yeah, Resta Shaman is just in such a terrible spot. I don't know.
They must put so much value on Spirit Link Totem.
I think they do, but they don't realize there's a bubble. The Disc Priest has the bubble, and they do almost twice as much. Like, it's insane.
Okay, I will say this. I do think Resto Shaman has clearly the strongest Azurite traits, but once again, I feel like they're being propped up by, like, before in previous expansions, it was always tier. You look at their tier, and like they have tier and legendaries that other healers could never even dream of. Like, imagine as a Holy Priest, it just said, oh, every time you cast Binding Heal, reduce the mana cost of Prayer of Healing by 50%. What?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what? Sorry, that's like a 25% HPS increase. What do you mean? What do you mean? Yeah. And they just had those legendaries, so... I mean, once again, they have ridiculous Azurite traits, like Azurite traits that increase the healing of Chain Heal plus add another bounce. What? So you can get 3 of them, so now your Chain Heal goes from 5 to 8 bounces, basically almost doubling the healing, or increasing the healing by the spell by 60% or something. Does that make
High Tide better? Would that make High Tide better?
I haven't gotten a chance to look at them, but I mean, the problem is Chain Heal is so bad that even with 3 more bounces and a little bit more healing on it, it's just not looking good. Like, their talent heals are so good, and man, I've had such an issue lately. Like, I've had to, like, there's all kinds of hidden passives and shaman shit that they tweak and they don't change you. Like, they don't tell you about the changes. Like, recently, Cloudburst Totem didn't work with overhealing. They just hotfixed it. Stealth hotfixed it recently that it does work with overhealing. It's like, Tidal Waves doesn't actually heal more than 6 people. It has diminishing returns that aren't, like, logical. I don't understand. I fucking hate this class. I hate Resto Shaman. They're garbage, and they have hidden passives, and they don't tell you everything in the tooltips. It's so annoying.
they're trying to fix them, and they just can't figure out. You know, they keep messing with those passives, dude, and to see if they work, and they're like, oh, that didn't work.
I would say my least favorite problem about Resto Shamans is that they have these really cool passives. They're like the only healer that has dual passives, right? Tidal Waves and Resurgence, a really cool idea. You get mana back on crits, and certain spells gives you Tidal Waves, which helps you your either Healing Surge crit or your Healing Wave cast faster. Kind of similar to Infusion of Light from Paladins, right? Yeah. The problem is, none of their fucking talent heals play into this. Yeah. None of anything they get ever plays into this. It's like that's the main part of their kit, right? But no, they have Unleash Life, Tidal Wave, that dumb spell that's basically like their artifact weapon from before. They have this Earth Shield totem that doesn't work off that. They have all these random little things. None of their shit makes any sense when you look at it all, and it's really hard for someone to theorycraft all of this. And then they lie about the shit in the tooltips, and even websites don't tell you accurate information. Like, how am I supposed to... I'm getting yelled at by, like, professional resto shamans that, like, the secret passives exist, but it's like, how am I supposed to figure this out? This stuff's not even in the goddamn game.
Dude, for real. And it's funny because your resto shaman video was probably the most controversial one that you put out.
It had, like, 700 views.
Dude, we
Everyone's watching that thing.
Dude, yeah, we didn't think it was going to get... that much
attention. All these people are caring about Resto Shaman. It's hands down the worst healer.
Yeah.
So there's this one comment. I think this guy deleted it, but it still shows up as a notification. And he says, I hate to be rude, but your understanding of Resto Shaman talent still has a big room to improve. By saying Echo of Elements is bad, I assume you don't use Riptide a lot, but a lot of Chain Heal. You don't understand CBT potential.
Must have not watched the rest of the video when I said to never use Chain Heal.
It's funny because when I click the comment, I think it shows where he left off watching, and it's like halfway through the video.
Yeah,
but I think he deleted his comment because I went through all the comments on the video, and I still couldn't find it.
So someone made a very good case for Echo of Elements, and I did have a little bit more appreciation for it. It's essentially, it allows you to have this like rotation while you're moving, right? So it's a movement option, right? My problem is the class has Spirit Walker's Grace. So it's like, unless there's movement, the 24/7 of the fight, right? Like,
yeah, as like I ever played Holy Priest, we have no movement, and we're doing perfectly fine.
We don't break our rotation. Yeah. You don't see me suggesting to spam 15 billion renews. So I mean, I understand it, yeah, but I mean, one extra hot on a movement phase, is that the difference between your guild actually killing the boss? It's like, oh boy, I'm sure glad I took Echo of Elements so I could throw down 2 Healing Stream totems and 2, like a Riptide Healing Wave, Riptide Healing Wave on this move over, rather than what's the alternative? 1 Healing Stream totem and 1 Riptide, 1 Healing Wave? Like, so you got another fast Healing Wave out, 1 more Riptide, and 1 more Healing Stream. I highly fucking doubt those 3 spells, which are garbage, by the way, compared to any other class of spells. I just want to put that out there. It's going to save the raid. The problem is, and then the same guy went on to say that, I think he said that Mastery was not that good. Or maybe that was somebody else I was thinking of. But it's just like, I think Blizzard is overvaluing their Mastery. I think Shaman Mastery is god tier. But right now they're in just such a shit place. I mean... And then they have random stuff. None of it makes any sense. Like, they have Earth Shield, but Earth Shield doesn't make any sense for the rest of their kit because they're not single target healers. So Earth Shield is good. Once again, it doesn't really get anything off of Resurgence, right? Imagine if Earth Shield actually played into Resurgence or gave you one of Tidal Waves. Oh, cool. Integration with your kit, with your passives. Holy shit.
They would never. That's too much, dude.
Like, imagine that your Earth Shield has a chance to crit, and when it crits, it gives you back like 0.1% of your mana. Yeah. Okay, just some integration. The whole class is based off a Resurgence Tidal Waves passive core set, and none of their spells play into that. I don't understand. I hate the class. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Well, Brian, tell me how you really feel.
I'm so sick. I'm so sick since Warlords of Draenor. Everybody's saying that a Resto Shaman is mandatory for progression, and all they can ever list for the reason why is with Spirit Link and what's that dumb High Tide or that dumb totem they put down is just so good. It's like, no, it's never that good. Like, it's in Spirit Link. Yeah, Spirit Link can be sometimes the reason why you kill a boss.
Like Avatar.
But it's so obvious if it is actually the reason. But every other, like, okay, so you bring a Resto Shaman, you could have like a DPS Shaman go Resto for like that one totem.
I think 3 Healing Argus though, this tier, Resto Shaman was required.
Yeah.
Especially if you didn't have a Disc Priest, just because of they were in a really good spot this tier in Antorus. It's obviously changing going into BFA, but like with Cloudburst, they were like a walking Disc Priest. Like they could Cloudburst every other Tortured Rage and just top the raid instantly, like 50% of their health. And then then they could solo heal double chain break and triple chain breaks in the last phase. It saved so many other CDs.
I think if you design the fights wrong, then Resto Shamans could be good.
Maybe,
Like if you design bad fights, Resto Shamans can be good.
Yeah. So if someone was dead set on playing Resto Shaman and they're like, no, I'm gonna die on this hill for whatever reason, what would
Me
you
with
say?
Holy Priest.
Well, what stats would they take? Like, what do they prioritize in order? You know,
Okay, so here's the worst problem, right? Every fight you need different stats because their mastery is not going to be useful on certain fights, right? Whereas their mastery is going to be god tier on certain fights, and they're going to need haste on some fights, and they're going to need no haste on some fights. They're going to need a lot of crit on some fights. They're going to need no crit on certain fights. That's the fucking problem. Is crit is based off resurgence. Haste is based off if they got to heal things quickly, right? And mastery is based off if the raid spends a lot of time at low health. Like, I can't just like suggest a fucking stat weight and be like, that's what you build. I'm a fan of mastery because if I'm gonna heal somebody when they're low, I want to fucking heal them when they're low. You know what I mean? But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, they're like an AOE healer now, right?
But this also goes back to your ping-ponging health frames.
Yep.
Like, Resto Shaman, that's the reason that mastery is like always gonna be just decent until they fix that. Like,
yeah,
the fact that a mystery or a holy priest, any healer can just go to a heal, like press on somebody's health, and then it goes from 20% to 100%. Like, that just ruins the rest of Shaman's mastery, right? Like, I think that's always going to be an issue until they can fix that.
I mean, I always do my theory crafting as if the rest of Shaman's mastery was at 60%, because that's where I kind of see like the majority of raids health around. Like 60% is like the average health that you heal somebody at, right? Would you say that's fair? And I realize that's being I feel like that's being fair. Like, I don't want to say 50% because then it makes their mastery seem too good, and then I get people coming in here and like, why do you think the mastery so good? But it
was funny because the Resto Shamans weren't the ones that we thought would be the most upset. Like, when Brian put out his Holy Paladin and Holy Priest videos, he was like, man, I'm about to get flames. Like, they're going to come after me, man. They're going to look for my Discord. Like, they're just going to troll the shit out of me.
I guess
Nope.
I guess when you tell a spec that, or somebody who's a diehard fan of their spec, that they're not supposed to use any of the spells from their base spellbook is probably like a deal breaker for them.
It hurts their ego.
It hurts their soul.
Yeah, they're like, how dare you flame my class? I know it's trash, but don't say it.
Yeah, they're like, we have our place, damn it. Like, what's your place? Again, explain. What's your place? Is your place raid healing? Oh, wait, everybody else does that better. Is your place cooldowns? Oh, wait, Holy Priests have those now. Is your place... So, no, it's not single target healing. It never will be. Is it... Oh, that's right. You're a Spirit Link Totem bot. That's right.
Yep. Dude, damn it. Hey, that's what... Our 5th healer, if it's a Resto Shaman, we've already decided. It's super. He's going to be sitting there, doing damage to the boss, and putting down Spirit Link Totem when we need it. That's about it.
I mean...
Useless class.
Like, Healing Surge has the worst efficiency in the game of every healing spell that costs mana.
Yeah.
I know because I've done the math for all of them. Yeah. The worst, hands down.
Like, no matter how good you make the stats, no matter how perfect you make the stats for Healing Surge, is always going to be trash.
Yeah, you add all the talents, you give it the tidal waves, you give it resurgence, it doesn't matter. It will never become good. It's just trash.
Well, I think this would be a great transition into beta testing.
Oh boy.
Bruceff is definitely going to be the one that's going to take the lead on that. But from everything that we've seen and heard so far, don't know too much. Just we've been too busy with getting used to the healers and getting down these rotations,
and not having beta access.
That too. So tell us, Bruceff, what's it like out there?
So I tested, I think, 5 or 6 of the bosses. I ran with a couple builds. Only for Holy Priest. I was only playing Holy Priest, but I was checking out all the other healers. The only talent I really didn't mess with was Apotheosis. I don't know. I just don't like the talent. Regardless, like, the helm was nice, but I don't think I'll ever use it, even if it's better.
What? You don't like it? You're going against World of Warcraft Priest.com? How dare you?
Is that an actual website?
Yeah, it's an actual website.
Of course it is, dude. I'm so sick of this shit.
Jesus.
Like, that's like their one recommendation is take a Apotheosis.
So there was 3 different Holy Priests that I mainly looked at. Myself, and 2 others. One of them underhealed everything, and he looked like a god. But he was ooming at about 3 minutes. And these fights, by the way, are like really good. Like, they're really well made, and I think they're going to be a lot of overhealing done. or you're gonna need a lot of external mana because they're like 7 to 8 minutes. Like a lot of these fights are super long. Obviously they're not perfectly tuned yet, but this is heroic, so Mythic's gonna be longer. And I don't know, like Holy Priest was really good before the Binding Heal nerf. Holy Priest was like hands down the best healer, like by miles, right? Like they were just looking insane because and you can just spam one ability and never Like if you could spam one ability, Binding Heal, and then use your most efficient spells like Holy Words, and you wouldn't for 6 minutes. And then you add a Wisdom to that, and it's 8 minutes long,
Yeah.
and you're able to be like spamming. Like you can spam your heart out, and you would never So they nerfed that, but now there's another build which is Circle of Healing, which does a little bit less healing early, which actually I proved that wrong because I ran it on live. Surprisingly, it has no, it doesn't work with our tier, does nothing, and it was still strong because it's really mana efficient. You can spam heal, you spam Holy Words on CD, Palm on CD, and then Circle of Healing on CD, and you have so much mana that anytime there's a lot of damage, that you can just either spam Flash, which is inefficient, but since you have so much mana, it doesn't matter. You can just use it. Like on Argus, I think I used Flash Heal 65 times, and I never was close to ooming.
Yeah.
It's insane, right? And then I can Palm whenever there's a lot of raid damage, so it just makes us really useful. During dead time, we can heal. We don't really do much, but then right when there's a lot of damage and we don't have our salve or him up, we can just spam Prayer of Healing, and then once the damage is gone, we go back to our just our boring build, right? Our Circle of Healing and then spam heal, and we'll just have mana the whole fight, which is good. But throughput's a little bit less, but I think it's gonna give Holy Priest the edge. Now talking about the other healers, Disc Priest, like we said earlier, we had a Disc Priest, a Mistweaver, 2 Resto Druids, and a Holy Pally. Holy Pally by far the worst. I don't know if it was him. I don't know if it was the player. He wasn't running our build, by the way. He was running the whatever they used, non-RNG build, double beacon, whatever.
Yeah.
And he was always on the bottom. Throughput and effective healing. He could just never keep up. No matter if he was ooming himself, if he was being conservative, if he was playing perfectly, he was nowhere even close. Then Resto Druid, I was surprised. Last week, before the buffs, actually, they were doing really good. I don't know if it was because he had external mana or what, or he was just playing better. But we were 4 healing or 5 healing, and the Resto Druid was always like keeping up with me. And then after that, the next week, there was 2 Resto Druids, and neither of them could keep up with me, regardless of the build that I chose. So I don't know if I want to say they just played poorly. I'm not sure, but because they did get buffed, so I don't know what the deal was there. And then Mistweaver, I don't know. They just look really strong. Like I don't know. I think they're going to be required, especially if they're like not if they're not playing greedy. Like if they can be your go-to spot healer, I think a Mistweaver is just going to be looking really good in beta or in BFA rating.
Was there any Azurite traits from beta that were really stand out for you?
So I didn't hit 120, so I didn't actually get to use any of the Azurite traits. But looking at another priest, there's a Pride S trait that works. That was doing decent healing, nothing special. I don't know. With Binding Heal, I'm not really a fan, anyways. So I think I would just take the prayer of mending for Holy Priest. But I don't know. Nothing really stood out. Holy Priest Azurite traits don't look that great, honestly.
Yeah, I felt that they were like not very non-creative, boring. Yeah.
Have you seen the Holy Paladin Azurite trait that it extends your Light of Dawn range?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. I saw that in the other. I don't know if it was podcast or what, but yeah, I saw that.
Dude, that's freaking crazy because and it's sad to hear that the Holy Paladin did as bad as he did, because that means that the build that Brian came up with and the amount of work that it takes to make it like do anything in a fight, and having to get those like there were so many times when I was just doing normals, like for the first time, like getting back into WoW and having to hit the Crusader strike. I was killing myself sometimes because I was in melee range for a lot of the boss.
Yep.
So I'm thinking this whole time that as we go through like the new X pack and we're doing like all the new raids and shit and everyone's learning everything, not only do I have to I gotta learn like all these like melee stuff anymore. all these melee abilities now. You know what I mean? Or I gotta like time where the ads come out, or if I can smack ads like when I'm running to the left or right. And it's like you have to be so much more aware now if you want to make Holy Paladin not only just effective, but to be like to hit like a high parse. You know?
I think if you can actually move, like say there's movement phase where we're like dragging the boss across the room, I think Holy Paladins actually some of the best because they can do pretty much the entire part of the kit. Like you could stop to do one of those quick and holy lights, assuming you have a decent amount of haste in like 1 second. Everything else is instant. You holy shock, you Light of Dawn, Crusader Strike, Light of Dawn's back up. Maybe you throw some Light of the Martyrs. Everything's instant. It's so crazy. Like people's idea of what all the healers are probably pretty much flip flopped at this point now, right? Like, Rest of Druids are no longer just mass raid healers. They're actually like really good single target healers. Paladins are not really good single target healers. They're actually really good AoE healers and movement healers. Like Rest of Druids not actually like the greatest movement class anymore. It's actually like kind of just average. Like everything's changed.
CDs.
Holy Priests have CDs, but the one thing that stayed true is their movement is abysmal. Actually, it's worse than it was before, in my opinion. It's terrible because now you have to
cast Renew though. At least you can cast Renew. Like it's
I
actually don't cast it enough, honestly, but it's definitely I don't know. I think I've min-maxed the current bosses so that I don't even worry about pressing Renew because I just know where to step at the right time. But
I think if you have to move and if you're clumped up, you can do Holy Nova. If you're not clumped up, you can actually do Renew. It's not the worst loss, right? Like if that's what makes you say like casting Renew, so you get your Sanctify off cooldown, it's not that bad, but obviously you don't want to have to do it, but you have to do what you have to do, you know.
Oh, and then one thing I wanted to say, piggybacking on Rest of Shaman, is Gahoon, the last boss of the incoming raid. I don't know what exactly it was. I think it's just really overtuned. We did it on Heroic, but that boss was actually really painful. So I think Rest of Shaman might actually be good on that fight. Mastery, if you stack Mastery, because
everybody's just solo.
I don't play Rest of Shaman, but if you have 20 people, there's like a ticking damage every 5 seconds. You'll never, unless you have perfectly lined up CDs and like 6 healers, I guess, the raid will never be topped. Like the raid just sits at like 50% health at all times.
That's perfect,
like, I can spam, like I'll be spamming Prayer of Healing and no one's health bars are going up. Like it's insane. So I think Rest of Shaman might be good on that fight. Not sure, but there also is a stacking phase where Spirit Link could be good. I don't know how strong it's going to be on Mythic, but we'll see.
I think they just really need to take another look at the coefficients of Rest of Shaman. Like that's it. The class would make a lot more sense if those were just fixed. You can't be having talent spells be so overwhelming that you want to take them over your whole kit and then only cast those, right? Like, I mean, I say that, you know, even though Binding Heal. But Binding Heal doesn't feel like a...
But it feeds into our Holy Words, which is part of our base kit.
Yeah,
so
Binding Heal... I almost read Binding Heal personally as, like, replaces Heal and Flash Heal almost. Like, I read it like that. Because it basically, why would you ever cast those when you have Binding Heal? So I wouldn't mind if the Rest of Shaman...
Because you do cast Heal a little bit.
Now after the nerf, there's actually some changes. But if the Shaman actually had something like that, where they gave him a really strong spell, but it actually did say replace this, I think that would be cool. But there's just whoever's working on Rest of Shaman has zero imagination. It's like they just copy whatever was done before from the previous expansion, tweak 3 things, and like cool, it's a new class. And it's like the Rest of Shaman community seems to like that, and I don't know why. It's like they want their class to not have any changes, but in my opinion, it's been the most boring healer since Draenor. It's had the least fucking changes, and it makes no sense. Like, I don't know. Don't get me rant.
I know every time me and Brian faced the Resto Druid, we'd always just roll our eyes, be like, another brain dead
Resto
class.
Shaman.
They would just compete so hard with anything that we did, and it's like, well, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah.
That's another thing. They're basically. I feel so bad for Resto Shamans. You have other good healers because their healing is gonna look so low because mastery.
Yep.
You
can't even touch the mastery if you have other really good healers in the group. I don't know.
Yeah.
Unless you're under healing.
And it's not like there's some cool build that can go either. I think that's the worst part, right? So we're talking about all these different builds, right? Mistweaver has one. Holy Priest kind of has a couple different things that can change. Paladin has a couple different builds. Disc Priest certainly has a couple. But like, what do you do on a Shaman? There is literally nothing to change the build up.
Press buttons as things come off CD. That's all.
Yeah, well, I mean, I weak word 10 spells into my interface, and I hit them when they pop up. But I mean, besides that, like, what do you do? I don't know.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I think we have definitely broken down, beta testing, and
Yeah.
we're super stoked because this week everything starts.
It's about time.
The grind officially begins. We'll get to see where everything truly stands. But I'm gonna be doing
monsters tomorrow.
The big question mark is Azurite traits. It's the only monkey wrench left, right? It's the only thing that can prove me wrong. Essentially, I feel like if the Azurite traits are crazy and they can buff enough a certain class in a crazy direction, then I'll be wrong, and it'll be fun to do theory crafting with those included.
Yep.
Yeah. But we definitely need also we need to put out a video after Tuesday drops. Give the initial impressions on
the leveling process and shit, just like general stuff. Yeah.
So unfortunately, I won't be there for when it actually drops, but I'll be playing my ass off definitely when I get out of work. But going into the new expansion, obviously we get new lore, we get new stories, we get new progression for our heroes in Azeroth. Some of us don't give a shit about that, but what we do give a shit about is Zappy Boy and Terrible Riding. That's what we're here to criticize. Okay,
a round of applause. The only good character.
Yeah. So last week, me and Brian were watching Dyrus. Do you know who that is, Bruce?
Yes. League streamer who's also playing WoW now.
Yep.
Yeah. So he wanted to learn more about the lore of World of Warcraft, right?
Okay.
So people were linking him a bunch of videos and stuff like that, and eventually he found a video that showed all the cinematics from vanilla to BFA, right? And me and Brian were actually just like, oh fuck it, we're just gonna sit here, fucking grab our popcorn and shit, and just watch them all, right?
Yeah.
We ended up watching, I think it was a 30-minute video with him.
Yeah, that was all the cinematics added.
Dude, when that first cinematic played, have you seen the original WoW?
Yeah,
cinematic?
with the
Yeah.
bear.
Yeah, with the bear.
Oh, goosebumps.
Yeah.
Dude, for real. We were like, holy shit. We were like, oh my god.
And Bruce, when did you start playing for reference?
Legion. I started playing this.
That's ridiculous because I feel like if a trailer from the original version of the game is giving you goosebumps, then that's pretty much
insane, huh?
That pretty much checks the box that says it's not nostalgia, right? Because I mean, I get goosebumps just because I'm imagining, my.
When was that? 2004.
Yeah.
Think about how good that cinematic looked.
Insane.
Yeah,
insane for that time.
Way ahead of its time.
Yeah.
There's no game that even came close to that. I didn't play back then. Didn't even know really about WoW. My dad played a little bit, but anytime I watch that, it's just this is WoW. It feels love it.
Yeah, and it's crazy that you say that, right? So we watched the vanilla one, and then we watched the Burning Crusade, right?
How old are you, Bruce?
Hey,
I'm 17. I'm 18.
Holy 18. Shit! I actually thought you were a lot older. Oh shit! It's illegal in here. Yeah, yikes!
Okay, so we watched the Burning Crusade, right? The Burning Crusade trailer. The Lich King trailer and the cinematics were freaking amazing.
Yeah.
I was actually as I was watching all the Lich King stuff, I was getting angry. I was getting angry at the fact that I was not there for all this shit going down because it seems such a amazing time in WoW to even participate in the fight for the Lich King and all this hype. I was getting hyped off of shit that already happened.
When you watch the cinematic, it's not like they bother to tell you anything. It's not like in the cinematic they go what new playable race and all this shit. They don't even do that. It's just my son, Arthas, and he's just he's kneeling in the snow and he's summoning his army, and it's they don't even need to tell you anything.
Which little side tangent.
You feel all about it.
Game of Thrones is actually World of Warcraft. Okay.
Oh yeah.
With Sindragosa, and he flies over the fucking zombies, and the zombies got blue shit. That's
Game of Thrones copied World of Warcraft.
Trademark.
Yeah.
Oh, that's messed up, dude.
It's they go after the vanilla stories, but then go after Game of Thrones. They fucking Lich, whatever the fuck. What's the Ice Crown guy?
Yeah, the Walker guy. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't remember his fucking name.
Walkers? He looks just like the Lich King. It's fucking rip off. Anyways, that was a great cinematic, and then Cataclysm had the greatest contrast between amazing trailer and the shittiest gameplay possible.
Yep.
When I saw the Cata trailer, I was like,
this is best expansion of all time.
Exactly. I was like, oh, this is going to be the MMO to be of all MMOs. They're changing the landscape of WoW for this expansion.
Wow. Yeah.
I was like, who does that? You're altering your game forever, right? Didn't do shit.
They're nope. Ruined the game.
I was so excited to play that, and this was right when I was getting out of high school, and I was like, I'd finally started raiding in Wrath of the Lich King, and I was like, I'm gonna be this big deal, and Cataclysm, the dragons destroying the world, fuck yeah. And then the pre-patch hits, and I stopped playing World of Warcraft for 3 years. It was that bad. It was that bad. People were dropping like flies. They just said, okay, here's your class, okay? Get the fuck out of here. Now
That's
here,
crazy.
now here it is now. And you're like, what is this? And then like I went in from being like one of the best holy paladins in the world to I couldn't even heal a 5-man heroic. They changed the way my class worked completely. It had like holy power. It was the dumbest fucking thing I'd ever heard. There was no problem with it before. I don't understand.
So
It was
I think
like
as bad as that was, right? As bad as Kata was, I didn't play back then, but I think Blizzard learned a lot from it. That you can't make a cinematic that is like 1,000 times better than what the game's actually gonna be.
yeah.
Because they had. Do you remember they had the highest sub count? That was the highest sub count ever.
Was
the
during
release
Wrath of the Lich
Kata.
King, yeah.
Well, was at the end of Wrath, the release of Kata. When
Yeah.
Kata was about to release, they had their most subs ever at release. And after that,
Yeah, pre-patch.
Mists, yeah, and then they had Mists, and then they had Draenor. It just literally the steadiest
Have you
downward
seen-
climb. And then
Have you
Legion,
seen
by the way.
Pandaria cinematic?
Oh god.
Which one? With the panda?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the orc and the human fighting.
Yeah.
Dude, me and Brian, I fucking.
I was
cringed.
cringing.
Press the X. Did you press
Dude.
the X the second you saw it?
They were hardcore going after the kid audience, and you can
Yeah.
clearly see where Blizzard's direction was for the game. Like just based off of that.
Surprised they
cinematic,
didn't get Jack Black to narrate show, dude.
Dude, like.
Like it was that fucking bad, man. And so here's something in all the other trailers. They took themselves very fucking seriously. I mean, Arthas is like you're listening to words of like his father talk to him about how to lead a kingdom, and it's like paralleling the exact opposite of what he's actually doing, right? It's like you have to inspire your people, and the dragon comes over. It's like super serious, and then Cataclysm super fucking serious, and then all of a sudden, then it's like this wonky ass fucking kids music, and this thing comes out and stops this human orc from fighting, and then it's like he does the classic who's that Chinese guy, Jackie Chan. Okay, he does that. They use the Jackie Chan like special thing that he always does, where he fixes like a pot from falling, like the last second.
Yeah.
And so he takes his stick and goes like that and fixes the fucking lamppost, and I'm like,
And then when they started,
stop.
The orc and the human started fighting together, I was like,
Yeah.
like you went from a dragon altering the landscape of your entire world to pandas.
And then somehow the mist, aka Mist of Pandaria, just immediately just dissolves, and all of a sudden you're in the middle of this like great Kung Fu Panda land, and it doesn't make any fucking sense. I played the whole thing, by the way. I didn't understand anything that was ever going on ever. There was the Loot Island that was introduced at the end too. Like Mist of Pandaria was such a long expansion that I started playing it, had too shitty of a computer, got kicked out of a raid, right?
Oh no.
Came back a year and a half later as a disc priest, got geared up within like 2 weeks and played again at the tail end. Like it was just so fucking long and boring, and it made no sense. And there was we called it Welfare Island. It was this island that would just drop you like raid level gear, and you would just get geared up real quick so you could play the game.
That's hella funny.
It was called the Timeless Isle, I think.
I'm pretty happy I didn't play back then, dude. I missed all the bad stuff.
I'm glad I missed out on WoW. I mean on WoD, because after that trailer,
I played a little bit of WoD, yeah.
dude. So after that trailer, so as Dyrus was watching, right, the WoD trailer starts, and Dyrus is like why, like what are all these orcs doing here? What's Gul'dan doing? And then someone in the chat types alternate timeline, and Dyrus goes, alternate timeline? when did that start? And he's like desperately looking online. He's like, where did I miss the transition between like like pandas and then alternate timeline?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
He tried to understand the lore and he couldn't. I played it and I don't understand what even happened.
Dude, and it wasn't until like we watched all those stupid videos.
Yeah, where it kind of made some sense.
And then it was like, I guess it was the bronze dragon who brought the fucking orc guy back to see his dad, and then there was like an alternate. And it's like,
Did you watch the movie, by the way?
why?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, Brian was. Yeah, but
I liked the movie. The only reason I liked it was because I could recognize certain things. When I recognized,
It felt like WoD. Like I wish that was how WoD was. I don't know. The movie was a lot better than WoD.
my gripe with the movie is like a lot of things just didn't feel right. Like so, the orcs were just like 7 times bigger than humans. Okay,
Yeah,
so
true.
they need to fucking calm down on that. Orcs are only half a foot taller than humans. Let's chill, okay? They're not. Yeah. It's like the orcs were the size of what ogres should have been, which they were missing, and then. Oh,
that would have been so sweet if there was
yeah. Yeah, they should have had some double-headed ogres, like spellcasters out rocks. There, and they could have been punching in the other head and like fighting, you know, like me smoke, me no throw fireball.
Dope.
It's just like whatever.
You could have played an ogre, like what?
Yeah, oh, well, thank you, so kind.
You'd be fantastic Oscar worthy.
Yeah, pretty ugly ogre.
Yeah.
But then we go from the WoD into what we play now, which is Legion. And the one thing I hated the most about Legion was the amount of green that was everywhere. Yeah. It's like they couldn't have picked like a worse color palette. And I've seen shades of green I don't even know exist, right? Like they just went through and they opened up their Adobe Photoshop and they're like, okay, we need a color scheme. And so they're like, oh, what do we have? We haven't done green yet. And then they just take all the little numbers from every type of green.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's like a huge chain, and then it's
all
just
those hex numbers in the
one. Yeah.
Some dude came in with this like coolant fluid for his car, and it was like the perfect shade of green, and like that's the one we want. That sticky looking green color.
Look at it. Look
at
it. Yep.
Like, and the problem is like if you played any of the Warcraft 3 games or anything, all the infernals were always like a yellowish green. And so you come in, and now they're all like a sickly green. It's like they're level up infernals, but yet we kill them with one hit, so they're not really that cool. Yeah. Like, I actually... Oh, here's a huge gripe I had with Legion. Yeah. Minions, like, essentially we are just killing swaths of fucking enemies everywhere. Like, they're ants beneath our feet. Even as a holy priest, I'm walking around, and I smite something, get the ring proc, and I'm like, Nova, and everything's just dead. Every little tiny imp dies in one hit. Everything dies in one hit. I'm literally a walking god. Like, why couldn't it? We're in a demon land. This should be hell. I should be afraid to leave the starting entrance without, like, 6 people behind me. Right? Yeah. Like, you shouldn't be able to go out on your own to complete quests. You should have to be in a group 24/7. We're literally hell of all the universes. Like, this is the hell planet. Yet we walk out alone, and these tiny little imps, like, and they just fall over, like... What the fuck, dude? Like there should be some huge walking enemies, kind of like the Fell Reaver thing from Burning Crusade. You don't fuck with that thing. He comes walking, you walk the other way. You take the long route.
Yep.
And you'll get to that quest in a bit. Right? Like they had one of those, but it was whatever.
Because it's funny that they say that like the Green Apocalypse started with the Hellfire Citadel and WoD. And when I first started playing World of Warcraft, right, which was in Legion, I thought Hellfire Citadel was part of the Legion expansion.
Yeah.
I was like, why is this so hard?
Yeah. See, I was surprised that that they actually made Well, I don't know. I didn't play at the end of WoD, so I don't know. But like, why did they make Hellfire Citadel green and then go straight into Legion? I feel like it would burn people out with the color green. And I mean, it did, honestly. What was the reasoning behind Hellfire Citadel being green? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm so done with green as a color.
Yeah.
Well, another thing.
It was supposed to be like a rare. Like it made sense in the beginning of the story, right? Because if you look at the overall landscape of like magic or whatever in the World of Warcraft world, right? Green was like the fell, like the evil magic, and it was rare. Like you didn't see.
Yeah, it was rare.
That was like a rare thing.
No, it's common. It is white. It is like. Dude, it's terrible.
And then they ruined it by making everything was fell. You're like the fucking land you walk
on.
I
think
like, whoa, it worked. Okay, let's make everything.
I think they might have actually been able to get away with all the green if the zones weren't so ridiculously compact. I forgot the analogy, but it was something like I forgot what company it was, but it's like, it was like EA, right? It's like EA doesn't, when they make games, every single square inch of the game is used for something, right? There's never just an area for you to go and look at. That's what World of Warcraft did this expansion, and I hate that. Every single spot in every single zone, even in the earlier ones in the beginning of the expansion for Legion, they all had a purpose 24/7. You couldn't just go to some cool place and it didn't have a toy you could get or something you could get. It was like, we're supposed to be exploring this world, right? In vanilla, there's tons of things you can just go to, and it has nothing there. That's it. Maybe a treasure chest that you find, but treasure chests were actually rare and cool in vanilla. Like in this, like on the fucking island, there was a chest every 2 feet, and there's so many chests, and they were so important that you had to get an add-on, like Questy or whatever the fuck it was, just to track all the chests, and you'd spend like an hour getting all the chests, and so you could get enough. Like it just, I don't know. Things were not rare enough, and the zones were so compact. They're like maze-like almost. Like every time we run to the raid, right? We zone in. Then we have to immediately climb like the switchback up around enemies the whole way. There's no fucking open space, and it's enemies, enemies, enemies into this pool of that green lava shit. Enemies, 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 all the way up this ramp to the dungeon. Like, never on the way to running the dungeon is it just like a flat area or just some open stuff you could look at. Like, everywhere is just a clusterfuck.
There was always something going on, and everything looked super similar, so that really helped.
Yeah, so it wasn't even cool. You couldn't even just look around like, oh, this is a cool place. It just looks like the rest of the fucking shit.
They just ran out of creativity. They're just like,
they did.
Oh, we don't know what to do here, so we're gonna put either a treasure chest or we're gonna put mobs because what else is there to do?
Or nothing. Or it was like new developers. It looked like new developers kept coming onto it and be like, oh, this is cool, but you know what else it could have? It could have this. Next guy comes, oh, this is cool. Let me add this. And then it just kept getting ridiculous. Like, eventually, if you add so many things to a picture, you can't see what it is anymore. It's just a bunch of shit. And that's what it was. It was like, calm down. Like, there were always too many things everywhere. Like a good example of this is the Paladin class hall. Is an absolute clusterfuck. They crammed so many goddamn things into that.
I kind of liked it.
There's like 200 NPCs in there.
It's definitely.
They all say, salute you, High Lord.
Oh, yeah. There's no room, dude.
It's definitely better than the Warlords of Draenor, what's it called? Order halls, though, or whatever their thing.
Oh, yeah. Which was just wide open space, but and you're all alone. Yeah, you're all alone. Yeah, they did the complete opposite. Like, oh, you didn't like wide open space? Well, here, we're going to lock you in a box with 300 people.
With thousands of things.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it's funny because they were talking about this because this leads perfectly into the last thing I want to talk about and the terrible thing that we've gotten out of, everything leading up to BFA. Aside from the talents, aside from the nerfs, aside from everything, is why did Sylvanas burn the tree at Teldrassil? Right? Like,
I know.
Literally a foot soldier just goes, oh, fuck you. And then Sylvanas goes, no, fuck you.
No. She gave her the abridged fucking hope speech. She was just like, from Braveheart, she was like, hey, you may kill us, but you'll never take our hope. And then Sylvanas was like, Ree! And then just like, oh, dude, yeah, you want to see that? Yeah, burn that fucking down. Yeah, she literally did. She was like, you said what to me? I'm a big bully. Burn that tree down. It was like, and everybody's just like, and then like,
I don't know, evil, dude. I don't know how.
Morally gray, by the way.
I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like that image of the Horde. Like, I don't think I want the Horde looking evil. I don't know. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah. Both those people are in chat too.
I think
they couldn't shoot that far.
No. Watch. I know what's gonna happen. 200 IQ here, right? I'm fucking brain blasting. I'm drinking my Gatorade.
Good shit.
Fucking Jimmy Neutron type shit. Watch.
Okay.
Frozen back.
They wrote it shitty so that we would hate Sylvanas.
Ooh.
So we don't feel bad when we kill her.
Okay, but you could write it well and we could still hate her, right?
Yeah. But what saves more money? An unpaid intern.
All right, I'm gonna go off on a small rant here. Okay.
Oh God.
Okay. For all those of you that have ever played,
rant, by the way.
Hold on. Before you rant, I need your rant to end with us transitioning into Warcraft 4.
Yeah, it actually is going to. Okay, so in Warcraft 3 and Warcraft 3 Frozen Throne, Sylvanas used completely different abilities than she uses in the cinematic and that we see today. The Sylvanas that was originally created had basically black arrows, so when she killed things, she would summon skeletons, took mana. She could also life drain things. She had a silence, and then she had possession as her ultimate ability. So she'd use it, and then that unit was essentially hers for like a minute, and she could use it every like 3 minutes, okay? We have never seen those used ever. When have you seen Sylvanas kill something with a bow and a skeleton soldier gets resurrected? I feel like that'd be so much more cool to watch than her just being like, oh, she's the Banshee creature, she's got Banshee powers. Like, who cares about Banshee powers? Those are a dime a dozen, right? She's not...
It's like Hotch got her abilities more correct than World of Warcraft.
They did. Well, I think they don't even have the skeleton ones, so they kind of fucked up there, but that's because they're limited with their dumb engine. But anyways, my point is, they're just pissing on the lore. That's a very important thing to me. Like, Warcraft 3 heroes should have the same abilities that they use today, right? Like, they made the heroes. The lore was created. We played a whole campaign with these fucking heroes, and then they're just like...
Side note, I wasn't born yet when Warcraft 3 came out.
All right. Settle down there, my young toddler.
It's fine.
All right.
And yes, I will give it to the chat. You guys are right. It does make sense to make them give up all hope by burning their fucking tree.
Yeah, do you got a pair of glasses around, Rusev? I bet we could get you to look like that emote.
Let me see.
Not born, by the way.
Jeez.
Alright, anyways.
It would be cool to fight Sylvanas though as like the final raid boss.
Yeah, just give her the right powers.
Yeah.
Give her the right abilities.
But and then watch. This is what Blizzard is not stupid, man.
No, they are.
They
Have you seen Resto Shaman?
This is how smart they are. They took a game, right? They took a game, made another game, and then made that game make 20 times more money than the first game. You know what I'm talking about, Bruce?
I think you lost me.
No. I didn't lose you.
Yeah, you
I had
did.
you. Okay.
Go easy on him, Benji. He's only 18.
Game, WoW made another game, Hearthstone.
Okay.
5-man team, quadruple your income. You see where that?
Oh! What did we buy Heroes of the Storm?
That's like
Here's the story.
they were like, oh, we can League of Legends too, but they really couldn't. So
Oh, man.
tried. But anyways, I think eventually everything's gonna lead to Warcraft 4 coming out after this X Pack alongside
All right,
Classic.
here's my rant.
What better way to get people to play your game and spend even more money that they don't have than by giving them exactly what they've always
I want to make a bold prediction. Here we go. All right. WoW has been
Get
failing.
my word processor out. Hold on, let me get my word processor. Highlight.
Yeah.
Lightwater.
Yeah. Prediction. Here we go.
The gigahertz.
Yep. This is gonna be. This is gonna be money. You could print this. You could make money off this. Here we go.
Okay.
That's a lot of numbers. All right. Game of Thrones is gonna fail the same way that for the same reason why World of Warcraft failed. It no longer has like a script to run off of, right? So if you know the episodes of Game of Thrones, they're off the script now. They're doing whatever the fuck they want now, right? Because the guy,
they're fine, okay.
Because the guy can't
themselves up
listen.
to the dragons by magic.
The guy can't write fast enough because he's old and fat. Okay, so what happened was the guy who's writing stuff for like was supposed to make Warcraft 4. Well, they just never had him. I don't know. Whatever, he died. Anyways, my point is they never had a Warcraft 4. That's why I think everything went to shit after they ran out of lore. Right? The lore of Warcraft 3 Frozen Throne ended during Wrath of the Lich King. And then, surprise, surprise, there's nothing to base anything off of. And then things began to get a little wonky, right? Like the first fucking opportunity they have to get off the script, they destroy the whole fucking world.
No,
what?
Brian, we just have our solution. Chat is 200 IQ, bro.
I mean, they're decently IQ'd.
Wrath of the Lich King 2.
Or does it need to be fat?
Wrath of the Lich King 2, Brian.
Okay. What?
That's how you solve all our problems.
I don't know.
Just go back to older content.
We will. Wait till vanilla.
We're doing that in BFA.
Wait till vanilla comes out, okay, and then we'll have to progress to Burning Crusade, and we'll get to Wrath of the Lich King, and then
He's gone, by the way.
It's okay. In 5 years, in 5 years, when we're done with Wrath of the Lich King, private server, they're gonna be like, well, we don't really want to go to Kata. Why don't we write, I don't know, some lore, an alternate timeline, huh?
So what do you think Warcraft 4 is gonna be based if they do make it?
Okay, well, obviously, here's what I'd do if I was the company.
Hold on. We're gonna go down the road here.
Okay.
I'm gonna start. I'm gonna be the wild card.
Yeah, interrupt me. I can see there's a lot of IQ being formed on the side of it.
No, look. Okay. Warcraft 4 is gonna pull a fucking Naruto.
Oh.
They're gonna do a time skip. Okay. We're gonna get Warcraft new heroes, right? And it's gonna be like the son of Malfurion.
No, please,
right?
God, no.
And
I don't
it's
like any of this.
The kids and like all these other heroes, and then they're gonna create a whole new war, like
Benji,
a whole new.
Stick to thumbnails.
Hold on.
I think their problem is they have people like Benji creating the lore.
Characters.
Yeah, exactly.
This does sound like something they would do, Benji. You're right.
They're gonna have all these new characters, right? And all the characters are gonna do, they can write them however the fuck they want, because all they're gonna do is just reference the old characters. They'll be like, "Oh, I remember Malfurion.
Yeah,
he was a
fuck all that decent work those good people made before."
And then they're gonna release Warcraft 2.
What?
What you release? That's old.
I'm done.
mean-
Okay, Bruce.
All right.
What's your prediction?
Wait. Do you mean World of Warcraft 2 or Warcraft 2? Isn't Warcraft 2 already a thing?
I think they're gonna have to hire Benji. He's convinced me.
Exactly.
Alright, what's my prediction? Well, you see, I think I played through Warcraft 3 once. Really don't remember it. I remember Arthas, so
That's good.
Warcraft 4.
It's a good start.
I hope it has something to do with Holy Priest. That's it. That's all.
There's like one famous holy priest in the lore.
Hey, wait, they should make him my name. Make a new Holy Priest and make it Brucev.
Right? Like, fuck
Dude.
Anduin.
Let's do it.
Jesus Christ.
I can be Anduin's kid. Like Anduin's kid's kid. Wait.
I'm surrounded by children and potatoes.
No.
We're onto something. We're onto
No.
something.
No, here's what we do. We start a GoFundMe. We buy up the shares in Blizzard, and then we make Brucev the next child of Anduin.
That's gonna be the most successful GoFundMe in the world.
GoFundMe, by the way. Put it on Facebook.
Just get rich,
Alright.
Warhead. I mean, come on.
Anyways,
Yeah, true.
here's what I
Now-
think.
By the way.
Now we get the real answer.
Yeah. Real answer.
Light
From the
Alex
smart
Jones
guy.
water.
Oh shit!
The smart guy.
Look, they're putting chemicals in the water, and that's why we have so many women playing the game right now. Okay,
Oh,
you can quote me on that. All right. Anyways, look. Here's their problem. They stopped playing D&D and they stopped creating Warcraft 3, Warcraft 4s. Okay, right? Like we needed the Warcraft 4, and those fucks needed to grow out their neckbeards and start playing D&D again. The problem is they lost the RP element. This is not an MMO RPG anymore. Okay, it's just an MMO. We don't have any role playing going on. Okay, so if they want to bring back some legitness to the game, they have to create a Warcraft 4. And then they have to stick to the storyline of the Warcraft 4. And the thing is, they can make a really good lore and storyline for Warcraft 4 because they can take their time and have the players play it out and it makes sense. We play through the important battles. We play through the important events. That's why the Arthas fucking lore is the greatest. We are Arthas. We have to slaughter our own citizens to make sure they don't become the undead. We understand why he did what he did. And
Do you
then,
think Warcraft 4 would be based off of World of Warcraft where Warcraft 3 left off?
No.
Probably
Okay.
it can. It has to be after-
I wish it would, because then maybe we could get a little bit of some sense.
Insight.
But I think it's a waste of time, and honestly, I personally think their stuff from Wrath of the Lich King to now is garbage. So I think that would be honestly it's like polishing a turd, right? I would rather do it with it going forward, right? So make a Warcraft 4 and based off what we have now and make it good. Or make it for next expansion, right?
That would be really cool, especially with how we have a lot of more updated.
Here's the thing.
Game.
The lore in the Warcraft series should be farther than what we are in World of Warcraft, so we have something to look forward to. We already knew the storyline that what Arthas was going to happen before we even did it, right? We knew we had to kill that motherfucker.
Yeah.
And so we had to wait for the expansion to come out. Make the lore in the Warcraft games, explain what's going on now, and then show us what's going to happen in the future, and then let us play it out as, and don't let us be the fucking heroes of the storyline. No, we're little peasants, okay? That's a problem. When we're killing titans...
And we can get skins with exclusive Warcraft 4 loot boxes.
Fucking
And if
Christ.
you own Diablo board, if you have StarCraft,
Benji.
you're able to customize
Benji.
your minions.
If
with
Blizzard
their-
watches this and this happens, I'm
Dude.
gonna literally shoot you.
I am the next head of Blizzard marketing. I swear to God.
Okay, we're screwed.
I have all the ideas.
We're
I-
screwed.
Some more.
Okay. All
Benji is
bullshit
mobile
aside-
game developers.
No. Hold on. All bullshit aside, I honestly think they're gonna do a time skip, and they're gonna do a time skip. It's gonna be all brand new heroes, and they're gonna just smack Warcraft 4 on it. I honestly think that because that's what makes the most sense.
I would hate that. I would actually hate that.
Okay, they don't need to make
So much we missed.
They don't need to explain what happened in the Warcraft at all. They could just call it Warcraft 4. It's the time present that we're at now, and just make it really in depth and make us like the characters. That's it. I don't know. They definitely need something to ground their fucking over the top. They're so ridiculously arrogant with some of this shit.
There's
right?
no market for RTS, but if there's a Warcraft 4, it's gonna make its own market.
It's gonna at least
4,
make its money back, right?
Yeah.
Like Blizzard has, a reputation.
It is that.
Warcraft
Well,
is
it's
so
crazy.
popular.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Part of the
there's
reason
no way
why
it wouldn't make
Warcraft
its money
3
back.
is even still relevant isn't even the RTS mechanic. It's the fact that you could customize the game
Yeah.
and make a bunch of other games out of it. So I think if they keep that part of it in, that alone is
Minecraft,
gonna.
by the way.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Arguably, the most successful games of all time were actually bred in the custom games of Warcraft 3.
Yep.
League of Legends is because of Warcraft 3. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
so and there's so many games in there. I always talk to Benji about this all the time. There's so many custom games that could literally be the next League of Legends that are just sitting on the shelf waiting for some big company to put some money into. Right? Like a Footman Frenzy should be a fucking game. Hero Line Wars should be a game, right? Like there's all these games out there that just like no one took advantage of that were made by people who were just generally trying to make a fun thing, right?
Yeah.
So
And
before we go on, or I don't know if we're gonna end it or what, but what do you guys think about? I mean, this kind of goes on World of Warcraft because Reckful just started playing today.
mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you guys think about his MMO that's coming out?
Everland.
Mm-hmm.
Funny that you mentioned that because towards the end of the last podcast, right?
Yeah.
We were talking about. Yeah, we were talking about how does Blizzard get the mainstream audience into WoW, right?
Back into it.
And yeah, and one of my big and probably Brian's as well is that you lose your identity with your character, right? You're not really committed to like this one character. You have like 15 different alts because you're a raiding and you need all these different classes, whatever, right? So then that leaves us with the problem. Well, how else can you develop an attachment to your one character? Well, the way you do that is that you
Take it
take your
outside the
character exactly outside
Yeah.
the game. So if you're able to import your character into Reckful's Everland without transmog, because I actually like that, without transmog,
Yeah.
and you got to see what gear you actually had in
You know what this reminds me of?
Everland, that would definitely be game changing.
This reminds me of that movie that came out.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
What is it called?
Oh,
I don't even-
fuck.
I remember watching it, but it was a really good movie. And it
Player
was very
one,
Player Unknown.
player unknown. What is
It was very similar to that because like people were importing characters and like they put their own
yeah.
identity.
Oh, Ready
It's
Player One.
basically-
Ready Player One. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was a work in progress. We question
Yeah,
mark.
yeah.
Question marks in the chat.
Dude,
My
I'm telling
bad,
you,
Fred.
We have the smartest chat on Twitter.
Yeah, they're smarter than the host.
Bro, they have 400 IQ, bro. We have 200 IQ. They got 400 IQ.
Yeah.
You guys hear that? I think some
Yeah.
kids dragging a screwdriver along the walls of my house.
I think that would be a good step because I think Ready Player One actually introduced something that no game has ever been able to touch yet, which is
Mhm.
like a true role-playing MMO. While Warcraft had it at first. Someone die?
Yeah, I'll just.
Okay. Anyways, so I think like no one's ever been able to touch that since early World of Warcraft. Like we have lost our entire like connection to our characters, like you guys are saying.
Yeah.
So I think Ready Player One introduced something through a movie that I don't know. Maybe I don't know exactly what Everland's gonna like be like, but maybe that's the first step towards something like Ready Player One. which
Yeah,
would
and
be
it was
sweet.
similar to like what Fried Mug Kid said. It was like a less, I would say a less autistic VR chat.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because in VR chat you can like pick any character and transform into
Mhm.
it.
But turned it into like an MMO kind of thing that you could actually go
Look,
do.
Yeah.
The reason why I think you would have to disable transmog for it is you have to really be that character, right? If someone sees you with like the mythic fucking pauldrons off the last fucking mythic boss while it's relevant, and you show up in, I don't know, Kitty Adventure Island, like, and that better be PogChamp, they better not know that's transmogged, right? Like,
Yeah.
there should be no way for you to fucking hack for you to get that. Like, they see that and like, holy shit, this guy really plays WoW. This is a fucking real deal. Like, I really hate transmog. You know what I think? I understand that transmog will never go away, but I think that they should do this for transmog. This is a good medium, in my opinion, a good middle ground. They should make it to where raid gear cannot be, like, current raid tier. Like what we're dealing with right now, or what we're going to deal with in BFA. Current raid gear cannot be transmogged, or other stuff cannot be transmogged to look like it. So when you actually see that fucking gear, when you actually see that person in the mythic shiny ass fucking helmet or whatever, it's the real deal. It's not
That's
some
exactly-
fucking casual ass pleb who
Yeah.
has it on another character or something because they
Remember
they,
Asmongold
they
back in the day? He'd just sit in Ironforge or something. He'd just be with
Yeah.
super sweet gear and everything.
Yep.
That's
Dude,
Asmongold.
Yeah.
Soda was
Yeah,
saying
that'd
that
be
exact
sweet.
same thing today because when he was on when Rekful was on with Jenna, he was saying how he got Jenna these season 3 shoulders that you can only get if you
Yep.
were like a 2K rating. And Soda
Mhm.
was like, dude, yeah, if you saw someone with those shoulders, you were just like, oh shit.
Yeah, and so
Exactly.
and what made it so much better when they were really surprised, they were like, "Oh, that's really cool." And then they inspected her, and it was actually the shoulders, not transmog to look like it, because she still kept them in the bank.
But the thing is, no one does that.
Because of transmog, that's a problem.
Yeah.
So, I mean, personally, I would like to see transmog just deleted from the game. I understand it's a big part of the game, so you can't. But I think a good middle ground is just make it to where current raid gear cannot be transmogged.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
But I don't think they ever will
Yeah.
because
I mean, we're
stupid. But
look at all this time we're putting into raiding and mythic raiding, and well, we already talked about this last podcast, but essentially you can get too much power from mythic pluses and just casual shit, Titan forging, all this stuff, right? Like someone who plays the game but doesn't play at our level can honestly be about 95% of the power we are, or 90%. And that pisses me off so much. Like, give us a small win, right? Like, I want someone to suck my dick when I walk out in like all mythic gear, right? Like that should be it. We earn that. Like that's not easy. No, there's a reason why only 0.1% of the population in World of Warcraft ever kills one mythic boss. That's literally the number. It's so ridiculous.
When Brian told me that after he actually trained me to actually heal, I was like, what the fuck?
Learning process.
Dude, no, for real. And it's funny. So when I was raiding with Status Pro, right? I thought this was how it was for everyone, right?
Yeah.
And then I joined something called LFR. That's where I learned that there are people out there that I'm convinced.
Trash.
I'm convinced 80% of the people in LFR are clickers.
Well,
15% just installed their add-ons, and the other whatever
Mythic
the fuck
Garage
that works out to be, it's just fucking bots.
That comment. Oh, Mythic Garashi was so hard though. Yeah, it was a very difficult boss.
For EN, this is
I gotta go pee. I'll be right back. You guys.
Like I said, this is my first expansion. So in EN, I actually pugged Mythic Nathendra. I put like 45 attempts into that boss because I was pugging it. That was so fun.
I mean, it's just so sad. It's something like 10 or 15% only ever even step into the raid, and that includes LFR.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
9 out of 10 people don't
that's
ever.
That's how casual this game
that's
is.
How casual it is right now.
That's why WoW will never. This is another subject, but this is why WoW Blizzard will never put like money into their raiding scene. Like as far as like giving back to the raiders, because I don't know, not enough people are interested in it. Which I mean, I guess is true if you look at the numbers, but it's not.
No, so I was about to say
dungeons.
MDI.
Most people do step in a dungeon.
That's the thing. MDI, that's a pretty good point. So MDI is getting a lot of recognition, and this is, in my opinion, a pretty mostly good thing, right? The bad thing is, I think they're going to shift even more focus away from the raiding into dungeons. And I think they're going to continue the bonuses being very relevant compared to Mythic raiding.
They're money hungry, dude. They're money hungry.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. It's getting recognition about their game, and it's bringing back prestige. Mythic Plus is an absolutely good thing, and the MDIs will be really cool to watch, and it is awesome, and maybe I will compete. But it's just, we just need something still for Mythic raiding. Like, okay, if you were to assemble a group, it would be so much easier to just get 4 other dudes who are also really good to compete in Mythic Plus, right? But it is so difficult to get 20 people together, like 3 to 4 nights a week, playing a decent amount of time and raiding, and that's not including all the other things you have to do outside of it. Like, we really need to get rewarded more, in my opinion. I think the item level difference between heroic and normal is not far enough, and I think the item level difference between Mythic Plus and Mythic raiding is not far enough.
And Titan Forging is not the solution.
It is not the solution, no.
Oh man, I don't agree with it.
No, Titan Forging is god awful. I'm okay with War Forging. I think maybe 5 or 10 item levels. That's fine. Maybe like War Forging and War Forging Plus. You know.
I don't know if you guys knew. This is also a different thing, but currently in pre-patch, supposedly there's no cap on Titan Forging. There was somebody who got a 275 piece. Okay. If you compare that 275, if you compare that to what it would be before the changes, that's like a legendary item level.
Well, more than that, right? So okay. So what would be the normal drop? What's the normal drop for instead of 275?
230.
230. Okay, so that's Titan Forge 40 item levels, right? But the item level is now 1/3 of what it used to be. So that would be like Titan Forging 120 levels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's insane, huh?
That's so stupid, dude.
Titan Forging is dumb.
Hey, Bruce, do you have a light that you can turn on?
Yeah, brother. One moment. Well, actually, let me see if I can do this. Hold on.
Ooh,
there you go. Let's do that.
I like that.
Yeah, I just read your comment element. Yeah, I mean that's the problem is the raiding community is so small, and the only successful pug groups, they have like websites and things. Like that's how, like, and there's like certain dudes who run it, but like the pug community is still alive a little bit, but it's nowhere near what it used to be.
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny. This comment right here that says, if they had a league for Mythic Dungeon, like LCS would be cool. And it's not only that. There needs to be a way. So I think I was telling Brian this. If it'd be really cool if you could take your character to where people were raiding, and then you could in game watch
That would
raids
be
happen,
so cool, man.
right?
Fuck
And
that.
you could kind of have it like in a viewing area with other
You know what?
people.
You know what I think what Blizzard can do? Okay, this has always been talked about, but something that they can do to capitalize on the money that could possibly be gained for Blizzard through just raiding is if they streamed it themselves, because they watch. They
Yeah,
watch all those raids live.
yeah.
Why don't they stream
They
that
have a way
stuff?
to watch it. Yeah,
Yeah, like I feel like they should stream the world first race. Like that would make them
agreed.
so much money.
And
Think about
I
that.
know
How hype would that be?
I know these
And they could
motherfuckers. Yeah,
and they could give back the money that they made back to the guilds.
yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah,
That would be ridiculous.
I
That would be
know,
so
I
sweet.
know that these guilds are gonna be so angry about it because they're so fucking secretive about their strats. But I don't care. Personally, if I was Blizzard, I mean, it's their game; they can do whatever they want, right?
Mhm.
Like, turn this into something that people can watch. People would watch that. Lots of people would watch that, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
Well,
I don't
Element,
know.
you're correct, but if everyone saw all, because there's only going to be like 3 guilds that are racing, really, which is like, well, maybe like just 2 now because like no one actually puts that much time. But Method and Exorcist, like if you have them recorded, like if you make sure that they're in an even playing field, then maybe that's what you do. Like I don't know. I feel
Oh,
like
I have another idea too. I think LFR and normal should drop the same item level, but they should share the same lockout. But LFR or sorry but LFR gear should be weaker, right? So it's not the same item level, but it's weaker. But they basically share the same lockout. So if you're bad, you can do the LFR, right?
instead of normal.
But yeah, and if you're good, then you don't get the bonuses of LFR, the determination and all that shit, and you can choose to do your lockout that way. But what we have this power creep issue right now in the game, where every tier is 15 item levels above the next one, and because Blizzard themselves said they want every item level to be worth like 1% power, then they said that you have to get a noticeable increase in power. Or you don't feel like your character's making any progress, right? So they want the casual to go from LFR to normal to heroic. I mean, they're never probably going to go to mythic if they're casual, right? But they want them to get 15% power, 15% power, 15% power, right? But this is driving this huge problem with the game, where by the time we get to an end of an expansion, our characters are doing like 5, 6, 7 times as much as they were doing when they started the game, and it's just ridiculous. Like we need to stop that shit, in my opinion. Like LFR, in my opinion, should be 5 item levels lower than normal, and it should be a lot easier to do, and it should have the same lockout. So if you're badass, you're gonna obviously go do normal, and the reason they'll never do that is because they need us in those LFRs. We carried those LFRs so fucking hard. I single-handedly am the reason why in the beginning of progression.
I used to solo heal
Yes.
KJ.
Yeah.
KJ.
Yeah, I would
We
go in
use all
there,
the soaks.
and they would be like 4 stacks of determination, and someone's like, "Yeah, we're gonna need at least another 8 for this." I'm like, "No, I'm here now. You got this." Like,
Yeah, you're good. Yeah.
yeah. It's funny. It's crazy how one person who actually knows what they're doing can carry a 30-man raid. But like,
DPS
Yeah.
and tank spec.
dude, I was
Hell yeah,
I was the
brother.
top. I remember it was so bad at one point. I was the top DPS and healing. As a healer, it's like that's not good. Like, that's not good. I mean, and the problem is that Blizzard's thinking that's cool. The good players are getting there and helping out the bad ones. No, that's actually that's bad. That's bad. That's how you enable. So those motherfuckers need to get to 12 stacks of determination
And get better.
and get better and learn why they're failing.
Yeah.
And there should maybe even be more punishment than determination stacks. Maybe you don't give them determination stacks. Maybe it's just easier than normal.
Yeah.
And that's the choice that you make, and they should be made well aware that it's the same lockout as normal. It's easier, but they're gonna get worse gear. And I'm sorry, but there should be no way they can Titan Forge and it's better than normal gear. I think that's dumb. Like
Yeah,
Titan Forging to beat another tier worth of gear is horribly. That's a bad idea in my opinion.
Yeah.
I should never ever see a person who's never done mythic raiding and they have better item level pieces of gear than me.
Yeah.
Better than
And-
my
and-
mythic pieces. That's crazy. That's
And it's funny
crazy.
because like I can almost agree that LFR needs to be taken out because coming from someone who is, I mean, I have a competitive mindset with any game that I play, but me getting to just go right into like the rating experience, I learned so much more doing that than I think I ever would have done in LFR, right?
Yeah.
Because LFR, like Brian says, it enables you to do bad mechanics. Mechanics don't hit us hard, right? Everything's like put on easy mode, and it's like not only that, but I didn't know like when I first did Mythic Dungeons, I didn't know you're supposed to go to the actual dungeon meet up, and then you all go in the
Oh,
dungeon
man.
together. I
Yeah.
kept looking for it on the tab that was
You're like,
supposed to.
oh,
take
no mythics here.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, the game must be broken or something. So I repaired my game files like 30. I'm kidding, but like I think that's such like a cool important part is like finding people and saying, hey man,
Get your ass to the dungeon where
like,
it
you want
is.
to go in this dungeon with me? Like go on a raid, like you know what I mean? Like there needs to be more integration with that. Like the community.
There's really important discussions that happen when it takes everyone really long time to get there too, right? So like as everyone's flying over there, it's like, hey, before you leave, guys, make sure you get your pots and enchants and everything. And some idiot.
This is how we're doing our pools.
Yeah, some idiot might be like, what's an enchant? And then everybody's going to give him shit, but he'll fucking learn.
Kick him.
And and if he gets kicked, next time he's like, before I sign up to these things, maybe I should have my fucking enchants, perhaps.
Yep.
And then next time he learns something new, and maybe he gets to be brought in. Maybe he gets bottom of the meter, he gets kicked, and he thinks, wow, I wasn't doing enough damage. What's a meter? Let me go download that. That's the problem.
Which is part of the reason why I'm super stoked for this idea me and Brian had, which was initially we're gonna do his raids, but we want to take people's rating experience, right? Have them record it and then send it to us, and then have Brian break down the entire fight through their eyes.
Oh yeah, I've done that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? When it's to be adjusted and stuff like that, and have it like as an interactive experience. You know, where you're breaking everything down.
There was a series we thought of too. You know, like you guys know what undercover boss is, right?
Oh yeah.
I wanted to do undercover healer. And where I go into really, really shitty, like, heroic progression guilds or, like, normal progression guilds, and I pretend like I have no fucking clue what I'm doing. And I just, like, I only wear, like, half the gear or, like, whatever I have to make my, like, reduce my character down to the point where, like...
That is them, yeah.
Yeah, and then I still, like, beat the shit out of them, and then I'm like, I don't know how I'm doing this, you know? And they're just like, hey, you're really good. I'm like, and I'll just ask them, like, really crazy things, like, how do I get more mana regeneration? And then, you know, like, just, like, really dumb shit. And they're like, oh, you can't do that. All you can do is a mana push. I'm like, what's that?
Like, dude, oh my god! I remember
by the way, I'm a rank 1 holy priest.
I think it'd be so much fun. It'd be so much fun, and maybe I could like carry around pieces of gear that like are really low item level, so they don't like see me. You know, like I have like an alternate set of just like gear from like Mythic Zero. So I'll keep my Mythic Zero gear, and I'll just put it in the bank when I replace it. And I'll re-equip it back on, and I'll join some lethal ass guild like a month in.
Those guilds that like people ask, oh, can someone link the meters because they don't have add-ons like for EPS? Like,
yeah,
that's actually a thing.
It is, yeah,
crazy.
Yeah. And I'll be like, what's a meter? What's an what?
This also goes into something. I mean, I'll make this quick because I know this is getting pretty long, but something that me and Lightwater talked about was making the healer community like less about like just doing the best, like not the best, doing the most needed, but like doing the best possible, like going above and beyond. Like I think we need to change. I mean I just started healing this expansion, but it's super obvious to notice. Like there's if you go into any class Discord, right, and you ask them, this is crazy by the way, if you ask them what are the stat priorities, the moderators don't even know. They just say you can use anything you want. Just make sure highest intellect, highest item level.
Highest item level.
By the way, I have 37% haste. Is that okay? No,
no, it's not.
7-minute fight and you're 2 minutes. But no, it's alright. Just highest item level piece. Like
if a fight is over like 8 minutes and you don't have anything that scales with haste like HOTS, and you have like 40% haste. You literally just checked the box that said, yes, I would like to receive 40% less healing. Check.
Exactly.
Because that should be 40% crit or 40% burst or something else, right?
It's
like,
so stupid.
And when you ask these people, like, what's like what should my raw HPS be or something? Like, oh no, don't worry about that.
Yeah.
No,
you should be doing damage. No. Your raw HPS doesn't matter as long as no one
everyone's
dies.
alive, and if everyone's alive, just do damage.
Yeah, it's... so frustrating because this leads to this lazy atmosphere where healers are just they're overhealing things with only CDs. This is why I take so much pride in my 3 healing with the Holy Priest on Argus. I was the only Holy Priest to do it before they empowered our artifacts. I take a lot of pride in it because we did it with minimal CDs, which is something that even like Method doesn't do. They bring a Disc Priest, a Restless Shaman, and a Holy Pally. Disc Priest can basically CD every minute and 15 seconds.
Yep.
You have a Resto Shaman who has like 6 CDs because they're just Resto Shamans. That's all they do is have
Mhm.
CDs. And then you have a Holy Pally with AM that can solo heal any
Yep.
stupid mechanic. But I think we need to we need to look at it, and we need to look at like how strong throughput really can be. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, like
I think Blizzard should.
we only had 2 CDs and we made it through Argus, Mythic Argus, the hardest boss in the game, or
Yeah.
the hardest boss of the expansion. KJ was way harder, but the last boss, I guess. And we had a Holy Priest with no CDs. Like I think that should be the new meta.
Any
like,
idiot can push a cooldown.
Minimize. Yeah, we need to minimize the
Yeah.
amount of CDs we're using. We
Yeah.
need to like, I don't know. We just need to
Max, no.
Max.
What a healer? You should be able to judge a healer not by when he counters damage coming in, but by how well he heals the whole fight, right? Like, it's so crazy to me that like we could just bring a class because of one cooldown, and the fight's just only hard during that one particular time. It blows my mind. It's like there's just not enough passive damage being dealt to everyone. And these really high end guilds can dodge every single mechanic, right? So you'll never see them bringing something like a Holy Priest because at the highest end of content, all that really matters is countering. Damage, right? Is X beats X, Y beats Y. So all we need is the dumbest fucking healers. So it's like gonna be Shaman, Paladin, and those healers. I guarantee there's a reason why those people don't release logs. If they were to release logs, they would get destroyed by us.
Yeah.
Like absolutely right. The raw HPS would be half of what we because their players play perfectly. We don't have players who play perfectly.
Yeah, we don't.
We play with monkeys, and that's the problem. Is these communities, these Discord communities, are teaching players as if they were like the highest.
Top end,
yes,
exactly.
yeah. But there's such a small amount of people that raid, and the vast majority of them that do raid play with monkeys, and you have to fix the monkeys, and they only teach how to counter like certain like raid mechanics, and then
they say this is what they say. They literally say if someone gets hit by a mechanic, it's their fault if they die. Like, no, you can heal.
You can fix them. You can go above and beyond.
That's like part of playing an MMO.
Yeah.
Is that you are there to heal the mistakes. It happens.
In my opinion, it should be the 3-strike policy, right? Like, if a player messes up one time, then now they have to use a cooldown, or the healer has to use a cooldown, or they have to get healed. They mess up a second time, now it blew some more shit. They mess up a third time, they actually die. Like, if they mess up 3 times in a row, they can't recover, right? The problem is that we have such, like ridiculous, the mess ups are very few and far between. Like there's not on a high enough opportunity for players to mess up, right? It's very, very, very coordinated. There's nothing that's uncoordinated in this game right now. Like there's no just random damage being dealt out. Every add-on can tell you where everything's going to be 24/7, and if you get hit by it, it's your fault, and it one-shots you. Yeah. Like that's not a good thing. I think things need to be more random. The boss needs to be a lot more just like roll the dice. He does whatever, and I think there should be a lot more damage that is dealt out at random points. We shouldn't be having these players who are literally just doing damage in between the boss's mechanics, and then when the boss does this one thing, he just hits this one spell and counters it. It's like
stupid.
It's the dumbest shit. And then they're being held up on a pedestal as the greatest players in the game because they didn't get hit by anything and they pushed one button every 30 seconds or whatever. And then they're teaching the really bad players, this is how you play, but the problem is the bad players play with players who get hit by all that shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they really need to know how to actually do throughput healing rather than cooldown healing. And so that's what I'm trying to teach. And I want to change the way the game is actually catered, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's funny that they have that mentality because that mentality is like similar in like League and all these other games, right? Where you want to play a certain way at a certain level. And the amount that people have that mindset in this game, even though there is no competitive scene for it that's anywhere near as big as these other games, you know, that they're so committed to that, like it's astounding. You know what I mean? And it's funny because I remember the first time I heard the term heroic progression. I thought people were kidding. I was like, you do progression on heroic?
Heroic, yeah.
Like that's a thing, you know?
Yo, where did you pull that, by the way, examples? Because that actually seems like what we're told. Like that's all they have. They have.
Oh god, let's click this.
Holy shit. Because this is the shit that we hate right here. Oh, this is from one of my videos, is it? Or what is this? This looks like a comment from one of my videos, dude. For free. Ooh, it's free advice.
He charges?
Watch the clip. Okay, what is this?
Be a predictable healer, not a sniper. That's one thing that pisses me off. Like, sometimes you can't. I don't know, man. Whatever.
This is exactly what I hate right here. It's this shit. It's like, stop caring about meters. If you don't look at meters and you don't review the meters after every fight, how the fuck are you supposed to know if something works? How do you know the uptime on buffs that you got from trinkets? How do you know the uptime on buffs on anything you have to do with your class? How do you know if you missed?
Why does anything matter?
What is any?
All you have to do is just keep everyone alive. Like, what's the point of min-maxing?
I'm constantly playing against myself. Whatever I did last attempt is now what I'm competing against, right? I don't care. I don't give a fuck about what my other healers do. I'm not competing against them. I'm competing against myself. Okay? And so I think that's what they think. They don't understand. I'm not looking at the meters going, ooh, I beat them this time. Like, no, I'm looking at buffs. I'm looking at uptimes. I'm looking at spells cast. I'm looking at my mana. I'm looking at everything. I'm looking at, okay, how did I fuck up? What did I cast? Did I waste mana on a spell? Did I have to waste mana on a spell? Would someone have died? No, they wouldn't have, because, Joe Smo was actually going to heal him and we overhealed, so that's bad. There's all kinds of different reasons, and this whole mentality of like, stop overhealing, stop healing yourself, right? Like I'm actually ever targeting myself. I don't see my name when I heal health bars. In fact, I don't see any names at all. I just see bars. Yeah, and I see bars that need to be healed, and that's it. I could honestly play without names, but I need to see names because I need to see their class to understand if I need to heal them, right? Like, sometimes the class that you're healing is different. Like, if I have to choose between a warlock and, I don't know, a mage who has his ice block down, I'm going to choose the mage, because chances are the warlock's going to gain a shield or some kind of, leech or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't know. This shit is just so under heal farm to build confidence. I mean, build confidence.
You can underheal, dude. You can underheal. You can underheal Prog and do way less attempts and be way more efficient.
Yeah.
But I think some of the best advice that I heard was from Brian and Endeavor, right? They told me, because when I first started, right, I was struggling. They told me, hey, it's okay, like, leave the guild and go join a guild that's not as good and become their god.
Yeah.
That's going to give you a lot of confidence. Then you could probably come back and do mythic progression.
That's what happened to me.
Granted, didn't take that advice. Just kept slamming my head against the keyboard until I got good. But for the majority of people that are playing the game, that's amazing advice. Like, join a guild, join a lesser guild. Yeah, and eventually, like, as long as you're like consistent, like you're just gonna get better at the game, because the game rewards you for learning about it. The more you know about WoW and the more you know about what you're doing, the better you can be. You know what I mean? Like, it plays on player knowledge a lot of the time. But anyways, I am going to stop it right there, because this is going to be a bitch to render in my computer. And it's going to take fucking forever. Anyways, I appreciate y'all for tuning in to the Parks Monkeys podcast, for chatting in the chat below. Be sure to check out our links in the panels on the Discord. Check out the YouTube, where apparently it's lit about Resto Shaman. Follow Brian on Twitter. Plug. More. He talks too much. He needs to type more and make people pissed off on Twitter.
How dare you?
Brucev as well.
So with Brian.
Brucev on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Brucev.
Yeah.
The same as it's the same as that there.
Yes. And join the Discord, because we are going to have Sunday Fun Day runs.
Oh God, sounds so stupid.
Once we get into the
we don't have a better name?
I don't know. So basically,
I'm not participating in those.
So basically, this is the plan.
I'm too young for this.
We're gonna do the meme.
I'm only 12. What is this?
Right, and then after the meme run, then we're gonna go into the podcast after that. So that's gonna be the hopeful plan.
I say we call it Clown Circus Sundays. All right.
Yeah, Clown Fiesta Sundays.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Clown
Much
Fiesta
better.
Sundays. Is there? Wait, did I not put it in?
Fun day charism.
Anyway, if there's there isn't a Discord below.
Points down as if there's a Discord below.
Second in the Twitter thing.
Yeah. Well, this is still going to be used as a YouTube video more so than streaming.
Yeah, he's talking about YouTube examples.
We don't care about you Twitch people, okay? God. All right.
Anyways,
trying to get that YouTube money.
But yeah, join the Discord. That's where we usually hang out. That's where we do the
capital T colon
and everything like that. But anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. My name's Kid Benji. No, say your name.
You're pointing to him. It's you, Bruce.
Wait, what? He's pointing in my screen. He's pointing to you.
No, he's definitely pointing to you.
Okay. Well, I'm Brusif. You can find me on twitch.tv/Brusif. I'm gonna be streaming all of Prague. Hopefully rank 1 H priest. Lightwater ain't gonna touch me, but yeah, we'll see.
Ooh.
And
and then you already know Lightwater.
yeah, that guy, the warlock or something. Oh,
Holy
level
shit.
69 warlock.
All right, cool.
The disrespect.
That's all she wrote.
Wait, is this where I'm supposed to cancel it?
No, you just hit stop recording, idiot.
Oh, wait, no.
Bye.
Oh, you know what I should have done if I was actually a good streamer? I would have been like... Oh, wait, that's wrong. Okay, never mind. That doesn't work.
Oh,
Okay,
no.
goodbye.